The left is pulling the race card script. Again, black representation, racism, white supremacy. It's the same playbook every time, and they only pull it out when their power is on the line. This past week really proved my point. Last week, Tennessee redrew the 9th Congressional District in Memphis, currently held by Steve Cohen, a 76-year-old white Democrat. Been there since 2007. Democrats lost their minds. Jim Crow, white supremacy. The NAACP files an emergency lawsuit. And then the truth comes out. The Republican most likely to win that seat is Charlotte Bergman, a black Republican woman from Memphis, single mom who overcame homelessness, built her own business, lost her grandson to gang violence. She has run against Steve Cohen 6 times. 6. Democrats spent 20 years keeping a white man in that majority black district. And CNN's response, it actually is racist. A black woman replacing a white man in Congress is racist. And this is not new. 6 months ago, Virginia governor race, Winsome Earl-Sears, Marine veteran, would have been Virginia's first black female governor, running as a Republican against Abigail Spanberger, a white woman. Who shows up to campaign against the black woman? Barack Obama. Cuts 2 ads for Spanberger, flies to Norfolk, and headlines a rally in front of 7,000 people in a black community. The same Barack Obama who 1 year earlier lectured black men in Pittsburgh and told them that they had a moral duty to vote for Kamala Harris because she was a black woman. 1 year later, he's begging black voters to reject the black woman because she's a Republican. Let me say this plainly. They don't care about black representation. They never did. They just needed us to vote Democrat. That was LBJ's whole plan. He bragged he'd have us locked in for 200 years. That's why Charlotte Bergman doesn't count. That's why Winsome Earl-Sears doesn't count. That's why I don't count, because we are proof that black Americans can think, vote, and lead however we choose, proof that the whole thing falls apart the second we walk away, and they need you to ignore us. So hear me clearly. They don't care about black representation. They don't care about black people. They care about our vote. They care about our allegiance. They care about power. That is it. That is all it has ever been. So stop letting them use you.
Blocking Alabama from pursuing new congressional maps. The practical impact of that decision is that Alabama can move forward with redistricting efforts, having passed new maps on Friday. That sets the stage for Alabama to get rid of one of 2 largely black congressional districts before this year's midterm elections. The decision follows a Supreme Court ruling in April that struck down a majority black U.S. House district in Louisiana as unconstitutional.
It's not a voting block. I want black people to understand you're not a voting block. You're captives. That's what you are. You're captives, and they call you out when they need you to do what they need you to do, and then they put you back in your little box, in your little cage, lock you up, and then when voting time comes around again, they come. They do. If y'all ever notice, they come. They do the photo ops with you. They show up in the black communities. They're knocking on doors. Let me tell you, when I used to work for the left, I used to get on their nerves. I really did. I promise you, I used to get on their nerves because they would be like, okay, Crystal, we're going down to this community today and we're going to explain to them why they're trying to oppress the black vote. I said, they are? How?
Talk, Crystal, talk.
And they would be like, what do you mean, Crystal? They're trying to disenfranchise our votes. I said, okay, but how? I said, I go vote all the time. And they're like, Crystal, no, you don't understand. They're trying to suppress the black vote. Wow. I was like, could somebody please explain to me? I said, if you want me to be out here, because I was just working. I wasn't sold on it. I was just working. I was like, could you explain? So when I knock on the doors, I know what I'm telling these people because I don't understand how y'all want me to tell them that they're trying to stop their vote because all they got to do is get up and go vote. Clearly, I didn't last long in that company because I didn't do too well. I didn't follow their rules. I didn't follow their rules.
Wow.
I am very interested because I am sure those black districts that they're probably fighting over in Alabama probably looks like Memphis, probably looks like Baltimore, probably looks like Maryland, probably looks like the other side of Atlanta because there's 2 sides of Atlanta. There's my side and then there's the other side. It probably looks like that.
Keep on talking, marching on to freedom. When voting rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When voting rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. 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 When voting rights are under attack, we gotta do
Now you know she can't pick that lady up.
That's why she did it.
Drama.
Would somebody tell her that she can still vote? Did anyone tell her that?
Please, somebody, please.
And woke up today in 2026, they would simply say the only difference is now Negroes have a TV show and we wear nice suits. They swapped out Klan hoods for Brooks Brothers suits. And that is the problem. I mean, Plessy v. Ferguson was 7-1, and it gave birth to 50 years of Jim Crow. What we have with this court right now, what we're seeing is watching people who have fought and died and bled so that we would have access to the ballot box, so that we would have access to our voices being heard in Congress, being ripped away. And I think that there is a casual laughter from people we believe to be our friends on the right who are showing us true colors today, because the most sacred, or one of the most sacred acts you have in the United States of America is the ability to cast a ballot and elect someone and send them to Congress, the state house, or a mayoral seat that represents your interest. And now Black folks throughout the South are being silenced. And I don't find that to be a laughing matter.
Case of Louisiana, they didn't have a choice. The Supreme Court said their maps were unconstitutional. They had to redraw it. And so what they chose to do was I think what they'll choose to do is move the House back to the fall, and they'll leave the Senate primary in place, which is actually happening right now. So I get the argument about a little bit of confusion for voters. I mean, around the edges of congressional districts, you're always going to have some areas where, one person on one side of the street, one person on the other. I live on the very western edge of a congressional district in Kentucky. In fact, if I might respectfully debate Bakari on this for a moment, to me, I heard you say that people are losing representation. People are losing their voice. No voter has lost their voice at all. No one's been disenfranchised. Every voter in America before these court rulings could go cast a ballot this November, and every voter in America, white, black, or otherwise, can go cast a ballot right now. The lines may be changing, but every voter still has the same amount of voting power, one vote, that they had. It's just that this Supreme Court said your race doesn't necessarily have to dictate your political identity. The fact that you're an American citizen and your franchise gives you one vote, that is your political identity. And it is incumbent upon both parties, Republicans and Democrats, to run people who speak not to just one constituency, but all American interests. To me, that's how the November election should be run.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, responding directly to them. But I think that one thing he left out was, why are you lying to these people? Mm-hmm. See, I would have ended with that. Why are you lying? Why do you find it so necessary to lie to these people about what's really happening? Is that the only way you can get power? Or do you have that much disrespect for your people that you lie to them about what the facts are? That's what he should have ended with. And I didn't see that happen.
It's getting so old. The fear-mongering. It's all they have. And like I said before, I hate to keep repeating myself. Tell me what your platform is besides, I'm not that guy. Mm-hmm. I'm not Trump. Racism, disenfranchisement. How about this representation of the districts that you're saying you're no longer going to be able to vote in, which is BS. Why are they the highest poverty, lowest education, highest crime rate? What are you going to do to fix those things besides it's Trump's fault? Trump's going to be gone in 2 years, and then it's going to be what? Rubio's fault? Vance's fault? I mean, it's enough already. Take charge of your life, stand up and say enough already, and be like an example. Like, all of us should be examples in our life, and bear the proper fruit and show me, as opposed to, like I said, Nancy Pelosi, multi-millionaire, but her district is nothing but slums, homeless people. That's the fruit that she bears. But every year, reelected. Why? What is wrong, people? It's crazy. It's nuts.
I'm starting to think that people like it. You can't continue to do the same thing and not like it. Like, I honestly, truly think they like it. I think some have grown accustomed to being perpetual victims, right? And so now you're not expected to do certain things because this is an ailment. And I think, unfortunately, a large number of liberals, but especially Black liberals, have grown to do this because it can't be because of racism. I mean, what about George Wallace? What about Robert Byrd? They stayed Democrats their entire career. You don't care about racism. You want to talk about, oh, well, Donald Trump's dad didn't rent to Black people. Okay. Well, these two actually did things to Black people that are unspeakable. So you
So did
absolutely
Joe
don't care
Biden.
about racism.
Yeah,
So did
so
So
Joe
you might as well
Biden.
throw that out. And to me, I think Republicans ought to start doing the Spencer Pratt model.
Yes.
Just show them what they're not doing.
Mhm.
You can't refute it. I mean, Karen Bass, who take the B off, when I tell you that woman is a nut job, all you gotta do is show the people. Don't say nothing about Trump. Don't say nothing about Republicans. As soon as it comes up, say, hey, how did it feel when you lost your house? Did you get it back yet?
Yeah.
What about that red tape?
That's exactly right.
How do you feel when you have to have a map just so you don't step on poo? How does it feel when you can't even take your kids outside because it's overran? And then you have to worry about people popping up out of the tunnels like a Ninja Turtle. It's absolutely insane. And so, with that being said, I just think Black people, unfortunately, are going to have to be forced to look at a difference of opinion, of policy, because without it, they are going to stay where they are. I assure you, I don't know what Jedi mind trick that LBJ knew, but he knew they were not going to change. And it's still working. So, yeah, go ahead and do what they're doing anyway. Go ahead and change the map and let it be competition. Let a Democrat come over to these districts and say, I'm better. And it's going to force them to have to say, well, why should I vote for you other than that D on your name?
So in the clip, what I found interesting is a couple of things. First of all, these were all women, so Black women. And I what I found interesting, now we watched it, the overweight woman who was chanting, then threw herself on the ground. You needed a forklift. Them two cops was never going to pick her. The head gets below the knees. They can't. That's it. Gravity, nothing is on your side. None of the elements can work for you. No wind, no rain, nothing. You can't get them up. And then when she went down, what I found most interesting is the well-dressed woman in the pink kind of suit. Lady, you weren't even involved. She pushed her way in so that she could be involved.
Yeah.
Now,
Dramatic.
I'm laughing at this because it is laughable. But there are two things that I think that are not funny that we could discuss. Number one, Black women, pay attention to this, because what we're seeing in these situations is that Black men are removing themselves from you and your foolishness. And I'm not mad at them. Brothers, run, okay? Run as far and as fast as you can. Get away from these women, because don't get trapped on the floor underneath them. You'll never get up. You will never ever make it back up. That's number one. And number two, I think the reason that you're not seeing Black men throwing themselves, I mean literally throwing their bodies, even those who aren't involved, let me hurry up and push my way past people so I can get in the middle of mess. That, to me, and I continue to say this, is mental illness. They are walking these women into mental illness. They are encouraging them to act outside of their best interest in the belief of a situation where they're divorced from reality. The entire liberal society is involved with making Black women go literally crazy. To me, is disturbing. And we are watching it. And yes, it is funny, but it is absolutely, there is something about this that is sick and maniacal. And you cannot convince me that you love and care about Black people, but you hate Black women so much that you will stand by and watch them destroy themselves for absolutely no reason at all, except for your white liberal gain. That is wrong. You are not going to have Black men rolling around on floors for this. The Black men are not going to do that. You know why? They've got too much sense and too much self-respect. That's the two things you can't have to be part of this movement, is good sense and self-respect. Absolutely unavailable. So you're not going to get a bunch of Black men.
They also know they have consequences. Black women have no consequences.
Yeah, because that you're exactly right. And you could tell that by the way they handled that woman on the floor.
The most dangerous people in this world, especially this country, are white liberal women. They are the most evil, demonic people in this world because they control the entire Democratic Party.
So crime in those districts are higher in both urban areas. In Birmingham area, it is 3 times the national average. In Mobile, in that urban area, it is double the national average. Homelessness, Alabama doesn't really have a lot of homelessness, but in those specific areas, they account for a good chunk of the state's roughly 4,600 homeless individuals. They don't play about their education. They make sure their kids can read, but in those districts, it's harder for those children to attain colleges. Like, they can't get into college in those districts for some reason or the other. The poverty rates are about 14%, which is just a little bit above in District 1, which is the one in Mobile. That one is a little bit above the roughly 12% national average, while their child poverty rate sits around 24% compared to the national poverty rate of 15%. And in that District 7, with the Birmingham and all that, is higher, with overall poverty at 19 to 21%. And child poverty is around 25% or more in some reports. I just want people to understand, this is Jim Crow 2.0. It really is. Because Jim Crow, you couldn't eat certain places, you couldn't sit certain places, so on and so forth. In Jim Crow 2.0, it's very sophisticated. It's absolutely sophisticated, y'all. How it works is they convinced you that they are the answer to your question. They keep you locked up and have you in supporting your community's demise. So welcome to Jim Crow 2.0 that you chose for yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, the chains are no longer physical, they're mental. And they got you believing that by continuing to support them, it's actually helping. But in all actuality, it's harming you. And you can see this in every district that they've rigged up like this. They're all bad. And to be honest with you, they're all worse than what they were when they initially drew these things up. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link is in the description box below. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, it can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. In the Lord hit my chest, kicked air from my breath, put power in my step.